Hello everyone, welcome back to EPL Fantasy Tips. I'm your host, Simon Berrickle. This is Game Week 11 of FPL Fantasy League. Here you can see the squad I've selected. It's not looking so good at the moment with these injuries. However, I have read some recent articles that some of these players are not as injured as they appear to be on the pitch here. So for this week, I have a 3-4-3 formation, and I'll start off with the goalkeeper and then quickly discuss the defenders I've selected, followed by the midfielders and the three forwards. So starting with at the back with Fabianski, the reason why I'm keeping him is he's still reasonably cheap and his TSB is very low. An ICT index is not too great, it's not too terrible. It's in the middle of the pack, really. So if you look at his recent history here, he didn't do very well against Fulham. However, against Wolves, he put up 7, and Everton, again, not so good. So he seems to have a good week, followed up with a not so good week. So I think this week he will likely rebound. Okay, and on with the defenders, we have Ben Mee here. Against Brighton, low selection rate, though against Brighton I think he has a good chance to get a shutout perhaps. Newcastle, they got spanked against Newcastle unfortunately, but against Bournemouth they got a shutout. It was 0-0. Yes, the reason why I have Ben Mee here is Liverpool and Man City are playing each other, and there's a good chance there will not be a shutout in that game, so that's why I've slotted in Ben Mee. I think he has a good chance against Brighton to get a shutout. Right, and then on with Reece James and Silva. Reece James, it says here that he's injured. However, I read that he has a good chance of playing against Aston Villa this week. So don't fear, don't transfer him out so soon. I think he's going to play, according to that article anyway. Alright, and on to Silva. Unfortunately, he didn't play last week, and I transferred him in every other game week he played. So I hope he's back on the pitch this week against Aston Villa. Surely, if Reece James doesn't play, then Silva will. But I hope they both do, since they're on my squad. Right, and on to the midfielders of Ward-Prowse. I've had him on the squad since week 1. Fixtures coming up. Got a couple green games, and then Arsenal to follow. I think I'll keep him in. I think I'll keep him in for the remainder, unless he really doesn't score or get an assist. He has a couple green games. A tough one against Liverpool, though. There's still a lot of green for the first half of the season here, so Ward-Prowse takes a lot of kicks, takes a lot of free kicks, so I'm not going to transfer him anytime soon. Next we have Rashford. Rashford I transferred in this week I got rid of Diaz, and Rashford plays Newcastle. I think he's very undervalued, 6.5. I had transferred him in before, but at that time he got injured, so I had to let him go. But I've put him back in. Great value. He got 3 points there against Arsenal, and hasn't done so well in the past 2 game weeks, though I think he's ready to bounce back. Man U have got an attractive schedule coming up until game week 20 against Man City. So 2 home games in a row, that's good for Man U and good for Rashford. Next we have Mr. Dependable, Zaha. He got an assist last game week. Still a relatively low selection rate. Good value, I believe. ICT index. That's quite an attractive figure there. Fixtures coming up. Crystal Palace. Very easy schedule coming up until Chelsea in game week 20, and even Spurs. They seem to be climbing the table as well. And the last midfielder I've captained Sterling. He wasn't playing against Wolves. I think they were resting him up for the game against, who was it? Real Madrid, or no, it was AC Milan, wasn't it? Low selection rate. ICT index is going to be on the rise, I think. I think he's ready to score. Fixtures, Chelsea's fixtures, still looking alright. Aston Villa should be an easy game. I think for next game week out, I'm looking to transfer Sterling out and get a midfielder with better value. And moving on to the forwards. Mitrovic, he's questionable for this game week. He's got a foot injury. And I think I read an article that he's normally he would play, he'd toughen up and he'd just play, but he's also got to factor in the World Cup, so he probably won't play unless he's at least 90% healthy. Fulham has an easy schedule up to game week 15 against Man City. Brief history, look back here. He had 4 in a row there, and then he went in a bit of a slump after Forest, and then he got injured, but let's hope he's back in the game this week. If not, if any of these players are injured, I have some players on the bench that will fill in. Like I said, I have Cancelo and I have Van Dijk that are playing each other. There was a good chance Cancelo could score, so I don't know. I believe he's the next person on the bench to come on if someone doesn't play here. Okay, on to Tony. Vice captain Tim. He's always a threat because he takes the penalty kicks. Last week he got a penalty kick against Newcastle. So Tony is always a good, dependable pick, I believe. And last but not least, we have Isak. He's probably not going to play, but I just put him on. If he does play, then he's going to be a better selection than who I have on the bench right now. I read that he'll very likely come back against Everton. And if not Everton, then Tottenham. I hesitate to transfer him out because I have good faith in him, and Newcastle's schedule is quite easy all the way up to game week 24 against Liverpool. Alright, so there's the squad for game week 11. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like and subscribe. As always, I'm your host, Simon Berriglov, and this is EPL Fantasy Tips on YouTube.